Good afternoon and welcome to our very first Instagram Live at Clive Christian Perfume. My name is Victoria Christian and I am delighted to be welcoming many friends and our perfume family to our first live afternoon tea today at home with Clive. I'm going to invite a wonderful lady, Eileen, and she is, they say, Confucius said, 500 BC, make your passion your profession and you'll never work a day in your life. Well, Eileen Donaghy, and she's joining us now. Eileen Donaghy is the afternoon tea expert. While I'm waiting, I'm going to put my napkin on. Oh, Eileen, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, lovely to see you.
Lovely to see you too.
You look fantastic.
Likewise, thank you. I mean, I didn't really know where to draw the line. I almost had gloves on, hired some horses to bring me into the... I'm joking.
It's such a lovely occasion to get dressed up for afternoon tea. And so I think, yes, why not? We've gone all out today, which is lovely.
Absolutely. And it's not, well, I mean, any time that you meet for afternoon tea, and this is obviously 4 o'clock on the dot is the pertinent moment historically. But this is no ordinary day, Eileen, is it?
No, today's very special. So today is the Queen's official birthday. So normally the Trooping of the Colour would happen, but today we'll be celebrating with our own afternoon tea party. Which is great, and there's so many links with the royal family and tea. So actually the Queen's actual birthday is the 21st of April, so that is also National Tea Day. So lots of links between the royal family and tea, so it seems only fitting that we have some tea to celebrate today.
Absolutely, hence why I wore a hat. I know that you've had tea with Her Majesty, so I'm sure you're wearing a hat on that day.
I had a lovely hat, so I was invited into Buckingham Palace, which was fantastic, to the garden party, and we got to see the grounds, and it was a lovely summer's day, so very, very nice.
Well, I understand you are obviously the afternoon tea expert, Eileen, and as I said, Confucius said, make your passion your profession, you'll never work a day in your life. What's your connection to afternoon tea?
Well, I love afternoon tea. I have basically turned it into my career, but I teach people about afternoon tea. So we'll be doing some little tips about afternoon tea today. I have a stand which I'm going to show you. So and I think one lovely thing that I personally just adore about afternoon tea is getting dressed up and making it a special occasion. So why don't I show you the tea stand and tell you what we're having today and some of the reasons.
I would love that, but before we eat scones or scones, which I'm sure you're going to set us straight on, Eileen, let's just get one thing clear. Let's first of all welcome all of our friends at our tea reception. We've got many joining us from all over the world, and that's so wonderful because tea, of course, is from all over the world. Our perfume ingredients are from all over the world, so it's only right that we had an official tea reception virtually with all of them. So welcome to everybody. Hope you enjoy. We'll take a little bit of questions if there are any towards the end, and I know that there's a few burning etiquette moments, which we'll come to. So we've done hats, we've done tea stands for a moment, but let's pause to ask the most important, perhaps, accessory of all, your invisible accessory. Are you wearing a perfume today?
I am. It's my favorite. So this is the #1 floral feminine perfume, and actually I have a question, and one of my followers asked me what is the etiquette around perfume, so where should I spray it on myself?
Have you sprayed already?
I put a little bit here.
You've sprayed the classic moment.
So would you also put some on your wrists as well?
Yes, absolutely. Well, I think, but as I'm sure we'll delve into on the tea side of things, there's so many similarities or parallels, I would say, that when that a tea is not just a tea is not just a tea. There's varying degrees along the rainbow of quality and concentrations and depths and freshness, that type of thing. And so too with perfume. I mean, talking of Clive Christian perfumes specifically, because that's why we're here today, all of the perfumes are perfume concentration. So they're really, they have a great depth, a great closeness to your skin because they're so concentrated. They're 20% up to 100% pure. And I mention that because I would think that there's probably, as an afternoon tea expert, when you're tasting foods and such lightness, that I know we're going to have cucumber sandwiches and lightness of flavors, there may be a thinking that you would perhaps overpower with a perfume those delicate flavors as you're tasting, as the palate and the nose are so closely connected. But I reference the concentration only because they sit closely to you. So you can, in fact, spritz to your heart's content, Miss Donahue. But of course, classically, yes, behind the ears, that's almost your pulse points at your wrists, remembering not to rub so that you don't kind of jar the natural evolution of the perfume as it warms on your skin. Because I know, going back to the 1800s, it was actually well, in fact, in the 1800s, not to spend too much time on perfume, otherwise we'd be here all year. But I'm free. But in the origins of this particular perfume house, it started as a corset maker. So they would actually wear the perfume in the bones of their corsets, in their cuffs and collars. So their skin, the body temperature would warm it through. But now, of course, on the skin, you don't need to worry. I mean, you can put it on your clothes also, and that just stays with you a little longer. But it will stay close and it will unravel as you go from your bottom tier of the cake stand to the top tier. As your teapot cools, your perfume will unravel.
And I think that it's lovely because there are so many links between tea and perfume, as you say. So, you know, even that action of rubbing it in can ruin it. And, you know, it's the same with tea and how tea is brewed, you know, what temperature should it be used and the volume of water. So it is a real fine science to get that perfect cup of tea.
So you're going to tell us all about that, I suppose. So you're wearing number one and you spritzed.
I'm wearing number one.
What tea did you select to pair?
Today I'm having a Darjeeling tea, which is very special tea. It's known as the champagne of tea. So very special. The reasoning behind that is it's grown in India in a region called Darjeeling, but it has been given a legally protected status. So it's a bit like champagne. Champagne can only be grown in that region, and anything outside of that would be sparkling wine. Whereas Darjeeling, that tea, is very, very special to that area. The reason being is it's grown at such a high altitude. It takes you know, which really impacts the amount of oxygen the plant gets and the amount of sunlight. So it really just gives it that unique taste. So it's got sort of a sort of musky sort of taste with little hints of jasmine through and grapes. So it's a lovely, lovely taste and very delicate.
Jealous. I'd like to be sitting on your side of the table.
So
it's a lovely partnership with it having its Indian origins. It's the climate of the territory there. In the number one feminine that you're wearing, that's a floral oriental. So you have your jasmines at the heart, but at the base you have an Indian sandalwood. And well, as you're going to tell us, I'm sure that there's not just the one type of Darjeeling, and there is certainly not. All sandalwood is not created equal. You know, you can have a 2-year-old or 3-year-old sandalwood, and what we use for the perfume that you're wearing today is 50 years aged.
Right, okay.
It's actually Sri Lankan because the Indian sandalwood, Mysorean, is protected, but it has that wonderful depth and smokiness.
And it's the same with tea as well, to really get those flavors and, you know, that really unique taste. And because all the tea then, of course, the loose leaf tea is cultivated by hand. So in usually April time, when we would have what's known as first flush, that's when someone will go along and actually pick 2 of the leaves and the bud, and that then is processed. But they have to be so careful when they pick it, because if they break the stem or do it the wrong way, it ruins the plant and it can't really continue to grow the rest of the year. So very precise. So that's why I think that it works well.
Can I ask a question on that? So you have your first flush, which is 2 delicately plucked leaves and a flower, is that right? And a blossom. And then what are the next levels of Darjeeling? Are there multiple?
So there's a second flush of the year as well. Sometimes, yeah. So the reason why they're different is the first flush. It means that that's the youngest, ripest leaves, and that has had all winter to grow, and it has, you know, the best nutrients possible. Whereas the second flush, while it's still good, it just has a bit less time to grow. So if you're drinking Darjeeling, you want to have first flush, and Darjeeling is one of the teas that I would always recommend you try at afternoon tea, just because not everyone drinks it every day. If it's a special occasion, why not push the boat out and have some Darjeeling?
It sounds fantastic too. It kind of rolls off the tongue, doesn't it? Darjeeling.
Lovely.
Could I ask another question, Eileen? I'm sure that I will stop asking questions. I'm just many, I'm sure, and let everyone else have a chance. But you talk about that smoky or that musky, spicy feeling that the Darjeeling has, and the temperatures and all the etiquette that goes along with it. Do you have to steep the tea for a longer time to get those flavors, or is it almost just introduce it in a flirtatious manner to the hot water and then leave it?
That's a great question. So it varies with the type of tea. So black tea, you would sort of say, some people would say between 3 and 5 minutes to brew, whereas green tea is only a minute. So you really don't want to overbrew certain teas, because then you get a really sort of heavy, bitter taste. It's a bit like if you make tea in a pot and sort of leave it, and you know, you're talking with your friends, and then if you go to top your tea up with that older tea, you can really taste that strong, bitter taste, which isn't very pleasant.
Well, some people really like that, don't they? And I think that has its own quite English title of builder's tea.
Yes.
Which I'm not sure would involve wearing a hat, but what's the etiquette there then? What do you do with the remaining? You just ask for your teapot to be changed. Obviously, at home, you're going to have to do it yourself, unless you've got a very well-trained pet.
Yes.
Or toddler.
So, I mean, for example, today, so I have made the tea in my little blue teapot, but what I've actually done, because this teapot doesn't have a cage to hold the tea, so normally you would take it out after it brewed. In this instance, I have brewed it in a separate pot and then decanted it into this one. So it means that no matter how long that we talk and I forget about my tea, it still will taste the same. So
on that note, let's do a little pour, shall we? Let's all have a pour and a sip.
Yes, let's have some tea. So I'm going to. And what tea are you drinking today?
Well, I would be remiss if I didn't say that I had done a little study, since I knew that we were having a chat and I didn't want to seem like an oaf. So I'm having my favourite, which is Earl Grey.
I
like all manifestations of this tea leaf, Lady Grey and all these different ones, but Earl Grey. And usually I would put a milk in, but I believe that you would advise to not.
Well, Earl Grey is a really delicate flavour. So I think if you add milk, it takes away from the uniqueness of the taste. I think it's okay if you have a little splash to help you cool it. But yeah, it's a lovely tea. So, or if you weren't having any milk and it's okay to let it sort of cool for a bit.
So the milk would actually cloud the flavour a little.
I think so. I think that it sort of takes away from the flavour, and actually, depending on, I guess, questions.
Sorry, I've got so many questions. I'm sure that everyone has too. Are there any teas that really benefit from the addition of milk?
Well, yes. So the reason why we drink milk in tea is because when tea came originally from India and in sort of the reign of Queen Victoria, the tea was the quality of tea wouldn't have been what we would have had today. So it had a slightly bitter taste. So in order to mask that taste and to make it a bit more palatable, people would add milk or cream to their tea. So that really just enhanced the flavour and really sort of smooth things out. And that's where sugar came from as well. So they would often add a little sweetener.
It was obviously set. I suppose we have so many links with the perfume with Clive Christian perfume to Queen Victoria, because obviously she granted the image of her crown to each and every bottle in the 1800s, in 1872 to be specific, because, well, it has a long and storied connection. But she was obviously Empress of India, and well, it was the British Empire, so the best of the best was really obviously coming to her through the spice routes and all the trade routes. So it goes to show, really, and you know, throughout history, different ingredients used in gardens, horticulturally, culturally, and art would have showcased that you knew of far distant lands and that you were not, you know, a homebound whatever, which is, you know, ironic, having afternoon tea at home today with us. But so I suppose tea was one of those elements. You wanted to have it so much, but it was a little bit bitter, so you did everything else to
try and
help it along. Yeah,
exactly. And I think, you know, with technology that we have, and the tea has really progressed, and that's why really you wouldn't normally need to have milk with black tea today if you didn't want to. I think if it's tea bag and you sort of go into the builder's tea territory, you do need some milk, because it needs something extra. So I was just going to maybe show you what we're having to eat today.
And if I could ask, does Earl Grey and Darjeeling, do they complement everything on your stand? Is that, we're not at odds?
Well, the first thing that will be perfect for an Earl Grey is the cucumber sandwich. So let me hold this up.
Yes, please.
So, help yourself.
Oh, if only.
So I have done a cucumber sandwich with dill today, and I've left one open just so that everyone can see the lovely green. But normally I think it's better to take the skin off when you have a cucumber sandwich. Just it gives it that little added refinement that we enjoy at afternoon tea.
And these are obviously homegrown cucumbers from your own garden.
Of course.
You've been very busy this lockdown.
I was rushed off my feet all morning. So that would be, the cucumber would work perfectly with Earl Grey.
Oh.
And actually, if Earl Grey is your favorite, I think one of the questions that we had was a tea that would be refreshing on a hot day. And Earl Grey is wonderful to be made into a nice tea. So you don't use ice. You would just brew it as you were, and then put it into the fridge, leave it overnight, and then you can have it as a chilled drink the next day. It's delicious. And if you had that with a cucumber, it just will cool you down on a hot London day.
I feel the mercury dropping already. That's very refreshing.
And then the second sandwich that I have prepared is Coronation Chicken. So again, a very traditional British sandwich created for the coronation of Queen Elizabeth II in 1953. So I thought, since it's her birthday, it would be nice to have that as well.
Right. That was a creation for her coronation.
It was, and it would have been very exotic at the time because it used curry powder. And if you think that was 1953, not long after the war, you know, who in their home in England would have had curry powder? Not very many. But of course the Queen did. So that's why it was invented especially for that occasion. Wow,
and it's such a lovely continual thread through history, from Queen Victoria and her love of India, and then obviously through to coronation. And actually, with the perfume company was commissioned for the Queen's, Her Majesty the Queen's Golden Jubilee, which I think is 50. I think it's only 50 years on the throne, to create a bottle of #1 perfume that was absolutely unique, and it's actually in the shape of a crown, because of course the crown that Queen Victoria had given, it was again so many just subtle, lovely little tributes to history and our heritage across both of the art forms, really, the art of tea and the art of perfume.
And exactly, so many connections. And actually, you said Earl Grey is your favorite, so you'll be pleased to know you're in very good company, because it's apparently Queen Elizabeth's favorite tea. So you
I think she's just logged on now. She's just confirming, yes.
Well, so that's the sandwich course that we will be enjoying. And you always start with your sandwiches, move on to the scones. So it's scone, not scone. and it's not just helpful in my accent, that is how it is pronounced. So we are having plain scones today, and I have some clotted cream and strawberry jam, which strawberry jam is, I think, the favorite. I was speaking to a chef that I know, and he decided to not have strawberry jam, but just put on some different flavors. And he said the number of complaints that there was not strawberry jam.
Yeah. Yes, I suppose. I suppose you just want, when you've got it in your mind, that's exactly what you think of, isn't it? And probably with some quite juicy, chunky strawberries within the jam as well, so really, you can really, that's meaty, yeah, melting in your mouth. When I was deciding what perfume to wear myself today, Eileen, I really struggled, because when I was thinking of afternoon tea, all I could think of was the scones and the melty, oozy strawberries and the jam. And I was thinking I should wear Cosmos flower, which is from our Noble collection, and that has a kind of chocolatey, sweet, gourmand feeling to it. And it just felt like but I thought, yes, you know, maybe I don't need to channel the strawberry jam. I'm going to channel, you know, Queen Victoria and take it back to its origins, and the bergamots and the freshness, that revitalization from the Earl Grey.
Okay, lovely. I think you know, there's so many flavors with afternoon tea. I've kept it very traditional today, and the last course that I want to show you is a lovely Victoria sponge cake. So again, connections. I had a little help from my friend Mark and my friend Spencer to help me make this today. Because
you didn't need to tell us that. You could have completely lied.
But I just thought it was so lovely, and it has the strawberry jam. Traditionally, the sponge cake is left uniced, and this would have been what Queen Victoria would have had. She was very partial for a slice of Victoria sponge, which is
just
where the name comes from.
That's not one portion then, yeah? Okay, fair enough. So the Victoria sponge is named Victoria sponge after Queen Victoria?
Yes, so there was always a sponge cake, so it wasn't specifically invented for her, but she loved it so much that the name Victoria sponge, and she would have had it traditionally with raspberry jam. So you can have it either with raspberry or strawberry as well. So that is the final course, and you know, people might think
there's so many things that were named or honoured and celebrated and given as gifts almost to the Coronation Chicken, given as a gift to Queen Elizabeth II, and obviously the Victoria sponge named for Queen Victoria, and so many things. And yet she was so giving herself. You know, she, I suppose, gave the tradition of the white dress for the wedding, because she wanted to step forward, you know, as her first love. She was, and even the giving and the sharing and the matching of perfumes. I mean, she gave that gift to us and then carried it forward, and to kind of stamp her authority on it, I suppose, her seal of approval, she granted that crown. So we will never forget that place it had with her. I mean, it's just incredible. And orange blossom was one particular note that in the Victorian language of flowers spoke of first love, true love. You know, every flower had a hidden meaning. So you could send, you know, a rather naughty poem to someone, or keep it clean with violets, and that meant modesty. But the orange blossom is such a beautiful thing, and that's from the that has that orangey, zesty, honeyed note that I would imagine comes through in many a tea, actually. Certainly bergamot is.
Yes, it is. And I think actually one of the Earl Greys that I have at home that I drink quite a lot of is flavoured with orange blossom, because it really just adds that lovely sort of second flavour through, and it's just delicious. But I mean, shall we have a drink? And I might want to show you some. I know there was some questions from your followers around etiquette around the teacup, so perhaps I will show you.
Please tell us. I've been picking my teacup up warily. Should I be picking up this? Tell us. Should it have this sort? Oh, Eileen, tell us. Put us out of our misery. We should have done this at the top of the hour.
My teacup matches your outfit as well, so we're very, very well coordinated. So, as we are sitting, you would never lift the saucer. So the saucer always stays on the table unless you're standing up. So down it goes. But I think for me just to demonstrate, to show you, once your tea has been poured, so if you're in a hotel, normally it will be done for you, but if you are doing it yourself, just be aware if there's a tea strainer on the table, make sure you use it. Otherwise, you'll have a mouthful of leaves, which you don't want. Then if you are adding milk, you always add milk second. And that's really, so you can see the flavor of the tea, so you can see how much you actually need to include. Take your teaspoon and just gently, 6 to 12. You don't, no clanking around with it. So just 6, 12,
Ooh,
6, 12.
Back, wafting motion. Quick one then. Do you stir up in the air or do you stir down on the table?
So you would leave it on the table.
On the table.
So saucer stays on the table, teacup stays on the table, and you stir on the table. Then the next thing,
and then spoon in the sauce.
Spoon, yes, goes back. Then when you are picking up your teacup, so I'm going to hold it like this just to demonstrate. You pinch, so you don't, no hooking or anything like that. You pinch, so, and then your third finger comes next, and that's really the support. And all your other fingers follow in after, and you should be holding it like so. Definitely not this.
No, I felt quite delightful doing it like that. No, that's a no-no.
So it's bad manners, and it's not very...
Apologies.
No. So that's really, and then just when you want to take a drink, you look into the teacup, and so you don't spill.
I don't look at you then. I don't look at you longingly over the teacup then.
No, so yes, perfect. Top marks.
Thanks, Eileen.
So, so that is our little tip for when you go for afternoon tea.
I love it. I'm just going to turn because we're coming to the end of our time, which is incredibly sad, but I'm just going to turn the comments on just in case there's any questions that come through, and I do apologise if I miss any, but we do have some. But a couple of quick fire ones from me, if I may.
Yes.
When I'm away from home, whenever that was, I would hear people say, shall I play mother and I'll pour the tea. So would you, is that very polite? Is that a very nice thing to do? Or do you say, just look after your own pot?
I think it's nicer, if you're hosting, to say, please do help yourself and offer. It depends on sort of the size of the table. It can be a bit awkward. Teapots can be heavy. So if it would be difficult maybe to reach over and lift someone's teapot. So I would sort of say, please do start and help yourself to some tea. I think that's probably the easiest and smoothest. Otherwise, you could accidentally maybe spill or drop the teapot.
Fair enough. Look after number one in more ways than one. And one other question, would you perhaps... you could change teas for each course, for the sandwich course, then for the scone course, and then for the cakes or the petit fours at the end. Would you suggest something maybe for the digestive, for the cleansing, the palate at the end?
Yes, so one tea which would work really well is a rose tea, which I've brought. It's not technically a tea, it's a tisane, so hopefully you can see, but it's very tiny little rosebuds, and that flavor really will clean the tongue of any specific, strawberry jam, anything, and it's a really good palate cleanser. Another good tea.
That's so beautiful. How many rosebuds do you put in a tea pot, might I ask?
You would sort of have around 3. You would take sort of a small teaspoon to really, let's see. So you just have like a few. 3 or 4.
Fantastic. I can't wait to get that. Where would you, any suggestions, or are there many tea brands available? Is that what you say?
Yes, there's so many. So many tea brands, but if anyone needs recommendations, they can look on my Instagram. On your site.
That's I'm sure that but the perfume I finally settled upon today was the 1872 Feminine, because start at the beginning. It's a very good place to start, and that at the heart, well, it has 150 plus ingredients, but at the heart it has the May rose, which blooms for 3 weeks every year. And in a single spritz, you've got the equivalent of 170 rose heads. So that was I wish I had known about that, because I would have ordered some of that on the double. That would be such a perfect afternoon tea accompaniment. And you could have that through the sandwich course and the scone course if you wanted.
You could do. I think because there's so many flavors with afternoon tea, it's difficult to pick one specific tea, but if you had to pick one tea, I think a strong Assam tea is also lovely, because that will cut through, you know, all the creamy flavors of the butter maybe in the bread, and sort of holds its own really against those flavors. So yeah, lots of questions I see, but
so many. Let's see. Warm summer day tea. Is that what you said for Assam, or?
A warm summer's day. Sometimes green tea is quite nice because it's a very delicate flavor. It's not too hot, so again, you don't boil it. You don't boil it to 100 degrees. Sort of around 70 degrees is perfect for green tea, and it's just a nice, light, delicate flavor. So definitely, I think on a nice summer's day, it would be lovely to drink that.
And at the end of, oh wait, hold on. Lots of love from India. Hello, India.
Hello, India.
Mike, can you see these questions as well? You can see all these.
I can.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
You might be probably more proficient than I am. My question is, which perfume do you suggest to a man going on a date? And which perfume for going to a party? Well, I've got to do the date one. Seriously.
It's very important.
Parties are probably a little stretch away, but a date, even just to feel the way you want to feel, I would go straight to the X perfumes.
Okay.
That's the harnessing of Mother Nature's most powerful natural aphrodisiacs. X masculine, that's cardamom and ginger and Mexican vanilla. It's a cedarwood. It's like a growl around your neck. It's fantastic. And the X feminine, which I think would smell beautiful on you actually, Eileen, is that's taking in many juicy, like peaches and berries, but also at heart Egyptian jasmine, and that's what Queen Cleopatra used to capture her man. So
sounds great.
Yeah.
Sadly, I'm married. Otherwise, I would be dicing myself with that.
I think at the end of a 3-month lockdown, everyone needs a little spritz of X.
I think so.
Life.
I think so.
Have you spotted any questions that you really like the look of there, Eileen? Someone's having rose pure tea with black forest cake. Oh, lovely. Please.
Because sometimes, rose tea can work really well with dark chocolate. It's a nice combination to pair the two. Someone else is drinking green tea. Wonderful. Let's see if we've any.
That's supposed to be. Is it wrong to say this? But I've heard that it's quite slimming. Is that? I mean,
well,
is there a slimming? I suppose a digestive tea.
I suppose green tea is considered to be healthier, and people would say that it has, really good antibodies and things in it that helps speed up the metabolism. But, in reality, you would have to drink about 8 cups a day to really sort of start to see a difference, which is a lot of green tea. And you'd also need to make sure you drink the loose green tea rather than supermarket green tea, because you're not going to get the same effect.
There's no quick fix for all of that Victoria sponge, sadly.
when after we consume all of these, yes, I'll probably have to drink lots of green tea.
And seeing as we're at the Clive Christian Perfume House right now, welcoming you, Eileen Donahue, maybe you could tell us what is the tip of the iceberg in terms of, if you're having 1 cup of tea with an endless no cost reference, no budget in mind, go to the top of the tree, what would it be?
Well, so some of the most expensive tea is pu'er tea, and people haven't really heard of it as much. It's not as common, but it's a Chinese tea, and it's used to aid digestion. But some of their tea, because it's aged for so long, and that's really where the wonderful taste comes from, some of it in China is as expensive as gold. So, huge costs. So
gosh, but it's the saffron, the red gold of the perfume world, I suppose. Goodness me.
Yeah, so very popular.
Have you experienced it?
I have had it, not the very expensive, but I have had different variations, and it really is delicious, but it is an acquired taste. It's very strong. So I do think I recommend that people try it, but it takes a little bit of getting used to.
So start with the Darjeeling.
Exactly, build yourself up.
Yeah. Work your way through. Yes, the pu'er. How wonderful. And I can't wait to try the rose tea.
Yes, I'll make sure I send you some. Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'll hold you to it. Well, is there anything that you'd like that we forgot, any terrible moments of etiquette that are a must-don't or a must-do when having afternoon tea?
I think my number one rule is to enjoy yourself. So afternoon tea is, a great opportunity to see your friends and relax and have great conversations. So I think that's my number one rule, is to enjoy yourself, and enjoy the food and the tea.
Good philosophy in general, I would say, but I have certainly enjoyed myself this afternoon with you.
Me too. Yes. Well, I think all we have to do is say happy birthday to the Queen.
Indeed.
Happy birthday. She's 93, I think. She's 93. She's a wonderful, wonderful woman. Great age.
Earl Grey's good for longevity, let's say.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Cheers and happy birthday.
Cheers.
And thank you all so very much for joining us. Again, my name is Victoria Christian, brand ambassador for Clive Christian Perfume, and this is the one and only afternoon tea expert, Miss Eileen Donahue. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. Have a great day.
Have a lovely day, and do send your pictures in. If you're also having afternoon tea at home, hats, no hats, we'd love to see it. Please do send them in and hashtag the Clive Christian at home. Perfect. Bye for now. Toodaloo.
Bye. Bye.